my name is Sean Michael White, and I have been a little bit quiet on my social media and posting. This may even be one of the first videos that I eventually upload onto my YouTube channel, Sean M. White. You can find me on Facebook, Creating Divinity, and obviously there's a few other ways you can get hold of me. I'll put them in the descriptions down below. Just very briefly, just a little bit about myself. This title of this video obviously is pretty massive, but I just want to quickly let you know who I am. I'm a remedial massage therapist with a science background, medical science, and I work in energy as well. And I'm also very much in line and in tune from a young child up till now with planetary awakening and developing intuition and developing a role of a lifestyle which reflects your inner self and your higher mission on life and on this planet. So just let you know that's where I'm coming from. I've studied science, biochemistry and molecular genetics. I've also done a diploma in visual arts, a practicing artist for a number of years as well, and still am, I guess, musician, and obviously a remedial massage therapist qualified here in Australia. I've studied energy work, I've studied yoga, Qigong type of yoga as well with the pranic traditions. But anyway, let's just get to it. We've all seen what's been happening and felt what's been happening this year in 2020, and if you've been following me a little bit, you know that I'm very much desiring to be a positive influence or a positive inspiration or motivation for anyone who wants to hear or see what I do in clinic or on social media alike. Anyway, so in lockdown in Queensland here in Australia, the state decreed that I couldn't practice for 4 weeks until the powers that be in my association professionally decided that we were classed as essential services, much like the other allied health professionals, which we're not technically included in. However, that time in recluse, I guess, with my family and really connecting with the energies of what was happening here in the world and in Australia allowed me to really drill down, and I wanted to just share something which I had done now months ago, because now it's in September 2020. So this painting came to me then. I did a series of paintings other than this as well, but at this time when I did this one, I thought it was very strange because it is a style I have used before, but not for many years. And obviously, like most of my art, well, not obviously, but my approach to art is purely intuitive. I have no idea what I'm about to paint any given time when I'm sitting down to do anything. However, it's always a nice puzzle, because at the end of the day, once I've finished, I go, okay, what am I trying to express here? What is it that I'm seeing? What is it that I'm feeling from this piece? And this one took a little while to get, but once I got it, it was like a massive light bulb. Mind you, it did take probably another 2 months to kind of get a real grip on it, and that's when I posted my understandings, I guess, on my Creating Divinity page. It's a bit wordy, a bit verbose, but I wanted it to be thorough, knowing that I'd eventually come back and do a video on it. And this won't be the last time I speak about this, because this is massive. One of the things that made me sort of get it to, propel me to do another sort of post on this or video on this now is because I've been getting information from other sources through friends and friends of friends about things that are happening in this world on a spiritual plane, and it sort of revalidates or reconfirms this as well. So let's get into it. You can probably tell from my June 13 post on my Creating Divinity Facebook page that there's a lot to this, but I wanted to do that so I could get timelines and ideas of timing, because I felt it was speaking of many things that have happened And the first starting point was this break on this purple line. And there's 2 breaks there, and then a massive dip, and then the plunge bounces back, and then it divides into 2. That is the biggest take-home message here. And the reason why I thought I'd start here to try and drill down on what's happening in this painting is that these 2 intersections are also, these 2 abrupt starts and restarts were touched on by this green line. Okay, alright, so if you've held on this long on this video post, I applaud you, because it's not always easy to understand someone who's talking about intuitive painting, or let's just be honest, channeling, okay? So anyway, thanks for sticking with me. So there's no easy way to say this, right? So this purple line, with these 2 intersections, I thought, okay, what's going on here? What's this all about? And then what's this green line that weaves like a snake? I mean, to cut a long story short, I acknowledge that perhaps this green line was a nefarious element to society, and that this whole thing was acting like a graph. In fact, it was like a timeline, like an axis, like the up axis going up is about purity of energy, perhaps, and this is a factor of time. So what we're looking at here is perhaps a timeline or a map of energy, past, present, and future. And there is a present point, and I'll get to that in a minute. But what made me anchor, because I needed some points of reference to get an idea of timing here, this abrupt stop and start, I figured, was the timing of a JFK assassination, followed by the timing of the at least 2 failed Reagan assassinations in America. Now, there are other things that were happening there in the 60s and the 80s, but I imagine it was a fairly global phenomenon. You had people who were in power that fell out of power all around the world. I mean, look at Martin Luther King. I mean, there was a lot of jostling. Okay, now, and then it approaches a plunge. Now, I don't need to be political about this, but in the cold light of day, there was massive wars. I mean, let's just think about it. And deceit. So we have a plunge, I figure, it's got to be Blair, Bush. Okay, weapons of mass destruction, the whole fiasco. And then what travelled on from that was Clinton, Obama, multiple wars, increasing wars throughout the Middle East. Alright, now I'm going to leave it there because this upshot, I personally believe that is a things are being made great again. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. But you cannot deny that this flatlining red line accelerates in an upward fashion and it intersects right there, just as we're out of that plunge that the Bush-Obama pact put us into, and it intersects and there's a forking, and that's the downward fork right there. And this is the rising higher vibration, I'm going to call it, that actually leaps off the canvas. So we have a rising red line. I'm going to put that down to a solar ascension or a planetary ascension. It's steady, stable, but now, and you would probably have to say with, you know, if you want to look into the Schumann resonances, we have to admit that there is something going on to this planet, and perhaps to the solar system. There's a lot of other things going on here. This blue line, for instance, to me I see that as more or less the social currency, you know, revolutions and economies and laws, and there is something interesting going on in there as well. But to me, it analysing the purple, the blue, the green and the red lines all made sense and they referenced each other. I'm going to leave it at that for today, because knowing that these, for me, these are the assassination attempts, and also knowing a few other sort of reference points and some of these other lines, I can then start judging timing. Okay, so if that's, say, the 20 years between assassination attempts in the US, where you'd have to say massive momentum was lost, or there was a power jostle with this green line, which I am starting to believe is a nefarious energy on this planet, because it's meeting up with that lower vibration on that fork. I can then gauge timing. And this timing is 2020, 2021, okay? The subsequent forking, it's on our doorstep, people. And I'm gonna leave it there because there's a lot more to be said about this, and it's really important that you sit with it, have a think about it, reflect on it, because if I'm right, and history has shown in my own personal life that when I get stuff like this, it's right, I just don't know exactly how to interpret it. But we're in for some very, very, very interesting social and spiritual developments in the next, I have to say, 80 to 120 years. And essentially, your choices right now in the next 3 to 6 months are going to affect not just your own personal experience for the rest of your life, but your children's and society at large. Thank you for listening, and thank you for getting through these 12 minutes. I will definitely be following this up, and I'd love to hear your comments. Obviously, I don't want to interpret too much of what's to come and all that, but something is coming. And I appreciate you investing some time and thinking about where you want to be, and realizing that now is the time. Now is the time to wake up and keep your eyes open and your heart even wider open. Thank you very much.